Howdy folks, how's it going? It's Des Cattys. I'm out in the shed. With winter now slowly approaching, alright, and some of you may not get out as much as you do maybe during when the months are a bit warmer. For me it'll be just business as usual. I'll go out during the winter months as much as I do in the spring and the summer, and so on and so forth, blah blah blah. Probably like some of you do anyway. But for those that don't, and for anyone really, just gave me a thought of something that I was doing earlier, so stay tuned. Right, so my buddy Mick, he gave me some leather off of a chair. So basically what I've done was I cut it all down, stripped it all down into patches, unfrigged it, and then there's some little projects, and I thought what I'll do is I'll quickly share it with you. Maybe some of you have played around using leather and all that sort of stuff, maybe you haven't. Now it's quite easy. I mean, like this particular leather for example is only like upholstery leather, so it's quite thin. You haven't got to go out really and buy any sheets of leather if you want to sort of make up some projects. Now past little projects that I've done, for example, is something like this. This has got like a plate in it, a frying pan and all that sort of stuff. I've just used a bit of paracord and a little bit of antler there just to sort of you know, use that as a toggle. I've got another little bag here that I made myself, and then for example this is just another hand line. This idea I actually got off of some time ago from MCQ Bushcraft, and I actually quite like that idea. So this is one that you can obviously dangle off your belt. So anyway, digressing ever so slightly, so it's good to sort of, as I say, with the winter months coming, everything else, the days are shorter and everything else, and rather than sitting down watching the telly, I don't do that anyway. I sit down and tend to read books or keep my brain occupied by doing little projects such as this. All you need is a few tools and then getting hold of the leather. I mean, you haven't really got to buy any. If you know friends that are getting rid of old leather sofas and everything else, then ask them if you can have some old leather off their chairs and all that sort of stuff. And even sometimes you find them sort of like chucked outside, you know, sort of like for the bin men or whoever to pick up and cart off and whatever. And what a perfect sort of, you know, even if you went up there with just a little knife or a leather cutter or something, just cut a big sheet out, take it home, and there you go. I've made bags out of, I've had sort of beige leather in the past, and you can dye that with old tea bags and coffee bags and stuff like that. You know, obviously if you want something a bit more sort of, you know, something that fits in with what we do, you know, with sort of like, oh, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can have it other colour you like, but I've done it in black, you know, and then this stuff that I've just got off my mate Mick is obviously a nice brown colour, so it kind of fits in with the context of what we do. Now obviously tool wise it's quite simple. I mean, literally out of one of the squares earlier I cut this out with just a pair of scissors. Yeah, if you want to go out and get yourself some tools, yeah, for example in here I've got, this is my little stitching awl. You know, you can pick these sort of things up off Amazon or eBay or anything like that for really cheap money. They're not expensive to buy. You'll be actually quite surprised. And then some other little tools that I've got in here. Let's put the camera down, eh? So then, yeah, I've got some wax that I might run through on some thread just to give it a little bit more strength. And then I've got this little gauge here, this little tool here. Well, actually you can run it along the edge of, say, thick leather to give it a slight bevel, make it look tidier. Depends how sort of much effort you want to take. This is just a blade where you can actually run the side of, you can even use that to make sort of like leather string. I've got this little tool here, which basically is good for measuring if you want to keep your thread in a straight line when you actually measure it. And then there's the wheel, and then the wheel will work literally by just something like that, just running it down. I'm not going to go into how the tools work or anything else. If you want to see that, then obviously leave a message down in the description and I'll show you a bit more, and maybe we can do a simple project like maybe making one of these. And this is absolutely simple to make. And then the only other thing you need on top of that is like a punch of sorts, and this is just like an old hole punch that I've bought. Again, you can pick these up cheap as chips as well. Make your stuff look a little bit more fancy. You know, I'd say you've got bits of, you know, you can get hold of deer antler. Again, you can even pick that stuff up out of pet shops if you so wish. I mean, here for example I've got like this is a muntjac shin. and I could potentially sort of just cut a section of this out, drill a hole for it, and then run your cord or whatever at the top that's going to go through there, whether it's a piece of leather. This, for example, is just a piece of paracord. Punch your holes into it and it's job done. You know, really simple, and they're nice easy little projects that you can do. There's another bone now if I wanted to cut that down of sorts. I'll tell you what, that's even quite good as a back scratcher. Anyway, so yeah, like really simple things. I mean, if you do want me to sort of like do a few little sort of like projects to give you an idea, then obviously leave comments down below, and obviously the more comments I get of people asking me to do it, then obviously I will. If not, I won't. I'm no expert. I'm literally just someone that likes to turn my hand to little things like that, knocking up some bags and stuff like that. As I say, I've cut this circle out and I'm going to make this into a little tinder bag. But what you will be surprised of is with this kind of bag, you really will need quite a substantial amount of leather with no seams in it if possible. Just a nice piece of leather that's been untouched, if you like, for you to be able to cut it out big enough to be able to then use it as to contain whatever it is you're going to put in there. But as I say, if you want something to see something like this, I mean, in here, for example, this is just like some old firelighting kit that I've got in here, and then here's just another little bag that I've made up out of old upholstery leather, bit of paracord in there, and then a little plastic toggle. So this actually had birch bark in it. So yeah, so there it is, folks. So if you want to see you know, something like that, then obviously let us know. If you've done any projects yourself, then obviously share. I'm no expert. I've made knife sheaths and all that sort of stuff with thicker leather in the past. But as I say, the real sort of thin upholstery stuff is really good. You can even get away with not even on some of it. If you've got an awl that's sharp enough, then needles that are sharp enough, sorry, say like a sail needle or something like that, you can even just use that. If you've got SAKs and all that sort of stuff, you can use the awl on there and all the rest of it. All right, so there it is. That was a real quick down and dirty video. All right, so as I say, leave your comments down below. Thanks for watching, and share your you know, little projects that you've had to go off, or maybe it's something you're thinking about to do during these months coming, when it gets a bit cooler, and you're just sitting down scratching your backside wondering what to do. All right, so thanks for watching, folks. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.